Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining in tonight. This is episode 27 of the P.W.P sessions, that is the Poets with Purpose sessions. I'm your host, Noelle Figueroa, and tonight I am honored and grateful to catch up with another fellow poet and author whom I've been trying, or I should say, I've been hoping to interview for quite some time now. We weren't able to connect a few months ago, but I'm thankful that he's coming through to have an awesome conversation and share some dope poetry with you all. An awesome poet and author by the name of Eric Crow Draven. Now, before we dive into the conversation, I'm just going to do a brief introduction. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. So as I mentioned, this is episode 27. And for those of you that are not familiar with this podcast, the P.W.P sessions, or the Poets with Purpose sessions, is a podcast that I created where I interview new or established authors of poetry and feature a performance of their work along with an audience Q&A session. I am your host, Noelle Figueroa. I am a poet, author, blogger, workshop facilitator, and event host, and I am the creator of the P.W.P sessions. Now, tonight's guest is none other than Eric Crow Draven. Eric Crow Draven is an award-winning author and poet who has performed at various events, such as for ESPN during their All-Star NBA game in Atlanta, and for one of my events, Vino and Verses, conducted by the Poets with Purpose Poetry Workshop. He's hosted various events, various poetry events, including Move the Crowd at the New Eurekan Poets Cafe and Black Joy is Resistance, a virtual open mic that celebrated the life of Eric Garner. His publications include The Search for Substance, The Consumption, Addiction, Detoxification, and Relapse of Life. Now, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to the stage Mr. Eric Crow Draven. Crow, what's good, Crow? What's good?
Everything is good, Brother Noel. Thank you so much for carving out the time to interview me this evening. And once again, I know we were trying to get things for 7 o'clock, but thank you for moving things around so that we can interview for 8 o'clock this evening. Thank you so much.
Nah, brother, it's all good, man. Glad to make this time, man, because I know we've been trying to connect beforehand, but you know what I'm saying, glad to make it happen tonight. No doubt, no doubt. So I'm gonna set it off with a question I present to all of my guests. Who is Eric Crow Draven? How would you describe yourself or define yourself?
Complicated. the first thing that comes to mind is complicated. Eric Crow Draven really is the spirit of someone who has a voice but who's been muted for a long time. And so poetry is not just an opportunity to connect to those who also have that voice, but also who need to hear that voice. I think often there's a lot of things that we want to say, but depending on our circumstances in life, we may not always have the opportunity to say it or to convey it. And poetry has not only been an outlet for me, but it has been an inlet for me. Poetry has allowed me to see into myself. And so Eric Crow Draven is complicated. He's thankful, he's grateful, he's God-fearing. He loves writing, and he loves to be heard.
That's what's up. That's definitely what's up. Now take me back to the beginning. Like how did your journey into poetry get started?
Well, my journey into poetry started 1997. I've always been a writer. Since I was a kid, I've been writing music since 1982, which says a lot about my age. So there are people who are much younger than me. God bless you. But my writing started back in 1982. And I've always had just a keen interest in music. And over time, my pen has developed. And so I would write songs, I would write rap songs, R&B songs. I just love writing. In 1997, I was working for an outreach program in Brownsville, Brooklyn. And I was surrounded by some very thoughtful, very great, some people who thought outside of the box. And a friend of mine, he said, have you ever thought about writing poetry? And at the time, I was in the midst of a record deal. So there would be times when I would go to the studio and I would write in the studio, but it got to the point I would only write when I was in the studio with the music. So in 97, when I'm amongst my colleagues, they're like, yo, write poetry because it helps to keep your pen sharp in between studio sessions. So it started out as a way just to keep my pen active and keep my mind active while waiting to go to the studio to record and write, hip hop music. But I never stopped. I literally started doing it in 1997, and I've been writing poetry ever since.
That's what's up, man. Now, what were the first subjects that you started writing about?
To be honest, I wrote about whatever came to mind. I look at my very first book, Blank Pages, and I wrote about everything. At the time, I was working for an outreach program. So I was in the street, giving out condoms, talking to people about getting themselves checked out, giving people information about, where to go in regards to their health, or in regards to when was the last time they had a physical, things of that nature. So a lot of that became integrated into those poems, in addition to just living and surviving.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, you mentioned that your poetry gave you a voice. Are you able to share with our audience, like the situations or circumstances that you felt were keeping you silent to the point where you found your breakthrough to share your voice through poetry?
It's funny you asked that, because right when you write in hip hop or you write in rap music, a lot of it is based on, you survived, you did some things, but you also talk about, this is what I want to have, this is what I want to get, this is where I want to be. But poetry allowed me to live in the moment and just be in that moment without being judged. And at that time, 97, I just remember going through a lot of things. I wanted to be an artist. I didn't want to have to work for anybody. You know, things with my family wasn't all great at the time, you know, and I can say now looking back, I'm definitely a better person today. But 1997, I was still a mess, man. I was still learning myself. So it's the reality of being imperfect and recognizing it, and which is hard. It's hard, man, to stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself about things that you're not so good at and things that you know that you want to improve on. And poetry gave me that voice. It really did.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Now, from when you started writing up until now, like over the years that you've been writing, like who or what would you give credit to in helping you to develop your writing?
First and foremost, there's so many people I've been around. I would just say life experiences in general. And then I will be more specific when I talk about, I was part of a group called A Production with a brother named Darrell that a lot of people may know, who's an excellent poet, comedian, actor. And, you know, we were developing our skills. In addition to that, I also happened to run into a brother around the same time, the one and only Mr. Nathan P., who used to host the New Eurekan Poets Cafe Wednesday night slam. Or should I say the Wednesday night open mic, because Friday was the slam. So I would go on Wednesdays and I would practice my craft. I would literally go there. I would have my book because I thought I was it. I thought I wrote my own book. I tried to get myself published. Everybody laughed at me. It was just like, you're nobody. Why are we going to give you a book deal? So I took that as a push for me to create my own publishing company, put out my own book. And then I practiced every Wednesday, going to New Eurekan Poets Cafe. And I forged a real relationship with the brother Nathan P., who just kept encouraging me, come back, come back. So as I was coming back on that stage, I figured out how I wanted to be heard, how I wanted to be seen when I walked on stage, the way that I wanted people to feel me. I would hear other poets write and they would say some amazing things, but the way they gave the information determined how I listened to them. So that became a factor for me. How did I want to listen to an artist so that I actually heard them? And so I kind of crafted, my performance and my writing just around that whole perspective. How do I want to be heard and how do I want to be seen?
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. So would you say all of your projects are self-published? Because I know one of the titles of yours, I don't know if y'all could see that because of my background. I have a copy of The Search for Substance. And then I know there was a book called Sinning on the Way to Church, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah. So
yeah, you're correct.
Were there others besides those two?
Yes, I have a book called Windows to My Past and another book called Blank Pages. So my first book was Blank Pages, then Windows to My Past, I'm Sinning on My Way to Church, and my last book, The Search for Substance. I actually received a Poetry Author of the Year award for that back in 2014.
Wow, that's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. And if these were all self-published, right, how would you describe your experience with self-publishing?
For me, after a while, it became, when I first did it, I had no idea what I was doing. I was just happy to be able to put out a product and say, this is what I did, and this was my total vision of it. The more books I put out, the greater my skills at editing, the greater my skills. I was able to literally go and say, this is how I envision it. This is what I see it to be, but I want this to be sharp here. I need this to be sharp here. No, I don't like this image. I need a better image. So the more I did it, I kind of got away from, oh, this is just how I see things, to people are attracted to the cover of your book. They may not know who you are, but presenting a responsible cover may be the difference between you getting 20 sales, and those 20 sales is from people you know, compared to 500 sales for people who are just finding out who you are, but they see the cover of the book and they're like, I need to find out what this book is all about.
Right. Most definitely. Now, compared to like the traditional publishing route, right? Would you say that you would prefer self-publishing, or are you like, well, if a regular book deal comes along, I won't turn it down? Like, what's your take on that?
Well, to be honest, it really depends on the money. It really depends on the money. To be a self-published artist, I see more than, I get about 75% of what I put out. Compared to a book deal with a big publisher, I may only get, I may get a great big advance. And depending on how the deal works out, I may have to pay 50% of that advance back, if all of it. And then I start making money off of that, off of the sales. So I have to recognize what are the terms of the contract and what will work for me in the long run. Because a lot of people is like, oh, what if, let's say publishing house, let's say a big publishing house calls today and they're like, oh, we want to give you a deal right now. But we own the rights to the book. We're going to give you a nice, healthy advance. You can live off this advance, but we got to recoup all this money first. In addition to all the money that we're going to put out, we're going to give you $1 million in your pocket, plus $250,000 we're going to spend on your promotion. They have to see all that money first,
right,
before you get a check.
Right.
So it's about knowing the business side of it, and then recognizing like I can move within this gap based on, knowing that people know me around the country and I've sold X amount of books between my 4 books, or is it better for me just to do my next book independent and then go to the publishers and say, this is my collection. You can buy into this. So it's really about, how you see your business and having a good business head on you. I really have, my wife is amazing. She has a great business mind. And so with things like that, I go to her first. I can't help it. When you got somebody in the house who who's smarter than you.
Uh-huh. Right.
It doesn't take a rocket science to go, I'm talk to my wife because I want to make sure I'm making the best possible move, not just for my career, but in regards to how this information is distributed and where it's distributed.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, you and I both have been in poetry circles. For example, I've been part of the events you've hosted, and I'm aware of where you've been at different venues, performing and what have you. Like who have you encountered? Like who have you encountered in the poetry scene that you would consider to be your inspiration?
Ooh. I'm gonna be honest. There's so many amazing poets. I'm gonna say every poet has a different influence, simply for the fact that it takes courage to get on stage. It takes courage to get on stage, whether you are a storyteller, you're just talking about something that came to mind in your poetry, or if you're speaking from your own truth. It takes a certain amount of courage to be able to go on stage and do that. So I'm inspired by every poet who decides, not only am I going to write this, but I'm going to go and perform it for other people to absorb, and hopefully they get something from it.
Most definitely. Now, would you say, in terms of subject matter, or do you have particular subjects you would like to write about, or are you just like whatever's on my mind and my heart to speak on?
Now I'm gonna be so honest with you, right? I love writing about what's on my mind and what may be happening in my life, which means that it may take a little bit longer for it to translate from experience to actual poetry. Right. There was a time in 2017 and 2019, I received the Erotic Poet of the Year award for those 2 years. And so when I go and perform, a lot of people's like, oh, he's the erotic dude. He's the dude that writes that erotic poetry. And so people think that I only write in terms of, erotic poetry, but I write about everything. I write about being alive, being happy. It's not just about writing about an orgasm. It's about writing about what it means to get from this point in your life to this point in your life. And at the moment, it may be an erotic thought, or it may be the fact that, I'm just struggling. I'm not where I want to be right now. And it's taken everything for me to push myself. And so those realities, when I recite my poems, they're very personal. I think the biggest difference right now between the way I used to write back in the days compared to right now, almost every single thing that I write is personal.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah.
That's what's up. And I would say that's an important point, because, most readers of, our work as a poet will be drawn to us when we're transparent and when we write from the heart, and I'm a firm believer in being yourself, in sharing your experiences, because somebody that reads your work will be able to identify with whatever it is you're speaking on, because you're speaking it. You're not trying to speak from another person's eyes. You're talking from, from yourself, from your point of view. And I believe that makes a difference in how much of an impact you have on your audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's life-changing. People, I know some artists who will tell you just writing is therapeutic, but getting on that stage and performing it has made the difference in their lives, to make sure that when the next thing happened, that they don't snap. Because not only were they able to write it out, but they're able to get it out and express it through being on that stage. And so it puts them in a place where they not only have they recognize they survived, but they can keep going. They can keep building new experiences.
Most definitely, most definitely. Now, let's talk about representation, right? You've heard that word circulating in different circles for different reasons, right? How important is it for you to make sure you're representing yourself in your totality through your writing, like in regards to your manhood, in regards to your race, religion, if it's applicable to you, ethnicity, education, life experiences, all of those things together, right? How important is it to you to make sure that you're representing yourself in your writing in your totality?
It's funny you asked that. I had an interview with a friend of mine not too long ago, and he was referring to me like, yo, like Crow, you're known around different countries. I talk to people, well, not around different countries, but, within the United States, like in different cities, people know you. I talked to my friend in Chicago. They know you. They knew who you were before you went out there and performed. I talked to my friend over here in North Carolina. They knew you. So me being a man of color, a Black man with a voice, means everything to me. Everything to me, because there's so many things about this world, about society, that's constantly trying to shut me up. At least, or I feel, and again, talking about from my own perspective, the things I've experienced in my life has always been like, okay, you're good enough for you to be here, but I really don't want you talking. I really don't want you to say anything. Or, you know what, you made it this far, you did well, and thinking like that's as far as I want to reach. Like I have no other aspirations in my life. So not only do I want to represent Black men, I want to represent educated men. I want to represent men who believe in God. I want to represent men who want to do positive things and pull other people up. I want to pull other Black men up. I want to see everyone who looks like me and who's come from the same places that I've come from. I want them to have opportunities that I have and more, because that's how we build. And this is one of my wife's favorite words, generational wealth. It's one of the things that we're missing. If I had millions of dollars and my father had millions of dollars and he was able to pass it to me, there's certain lessons I would have learned just for seeing how he moved the money and kept the money. So when I'm in certain spaces, I'll be able to do the same thing for my children. But often it becomes this crab in a barrel kind of syndrome where, oh, you think you got this? Well, you gonna have this. I'm gonna have that. And we fight over crumbs. And we don't understand there's so many loaves of bread. We don't have to fight over anything. I can share the same space with you, the same time with you, and reinforce you so that you can have everything that you need so you can take care of yourself and your family. And it's of no threat to me. And that's how I want to be, as a man of color. I want to pull other men up. As a Black man, I want other Black men to succeed and Black women to succeed, because the more of us who are in positions of power, that means there's more opportunities for other people who look like us who can come up.
That's what's up, man. Very, very powerful response, bro. And that provides the perfect segue to our next segment of this podcast, which is, it is now time for Mr. Eric Crow Draven to take the mic. Now, bro, you have the opportunity to share 5 poems of your choosing. You don't have to do 5, but you have space for 5 poems. Just to give our audience an idea of who you are as a poet and a performer. So at this time, the floor is yours.
This piece is called Purple. Sometimes I cry, my face flooded, stained in pain. I am so transparent, they look through me, yet are blind to my wounds. No matter how hard or how far they threw me, we the people never intended my inclusion. Scars under my skin, be careful when you attempt to touch me. Words penetrate and beat me from the inside out. So say what you mean, because I'm actually listening. My humanity, questioned and targeted. Don't let them kill me in front of you. They shoot and unload. My right to life is targeted and questioned. They prefer me afraid and feeble. Sometimes I cry. My history hidden, generations robbed at gunpoint, but you want me to pledge allegiance. Colonizers took credit for our inventions and built generational wealth. They developed a system to suppress and keep us in intentional debt, stealth. Stop expecting me to build bridges after you burn crosses on my lawn. After you increase the rate and risk of my loan based on my skin complexion. After you experimented on my mind and body, after you made it damn near impossible for me to receive an education without keeping me in debt for the rest of my life, after you treated me like property. Man, sometimes I cry. Living has given me PTSD, tired of bearing the burden of proving I belong here. Some days it feels like I am suffocating, bruises on my throat, their hands and knees on my neck. Just don't stand there and let them kill me in front of you. I bled all over my ancestors' expectations while others hope I self-poison and self-imprison to cope. Sometimes I cry in disbelief and in frustration. I'm so heavily hated, unappreciated, and degraded. What makes me so unlovable? Emotionally jumped, roped, and hung. Daily, I find myself lost. I fight for every space I've earned, holding my brother's ashes until it's my turn, preparing my next 10 moves, studying because every piece and position has value. So I practice and try to beat myself in between opponents, pleading to God, please don't let me beat myself in between opponents. My chest, sometimes I cry, devastated by the endless attacks and murders of Black men, waiting for a judge to criminalize the genocide of my kind from people who lack my kindness. The original people of this land would tell you it's all based on a robbery and a systematic lie. I've been beaten so badly, I don't look like anything. I don't look like any of my people who came here before me. I've been beaten so badly, my soul is purple. They expect me to avenge the way they treated my people who came before me, because it feels impossible to heal since they won't stop beating on me. So do me a favor, just don't fucking stand there and let them kill me in front of you. So that's that piece. I'm gonna do another piece called Did I Tell You? I know I don't tell you every day, but I thank God for you. Thank you for making sure I didn't close my eyes for the last time. Thank you for making sure I made it to the hospital. I am still here today because you were right by my side. Thank you for every hospital visit, the time you spent in traffic, every time you took off from work to come to see me, the times you stayed in my room until they kicked you out, the time you prayed over me and read the Bible to me, the times you called me, especially those night calls to make sure your voice was the last thing I heard before I went to sleep. Thank you for asking the nurses and doctors questions about my health and progression, and sneaking me food and bringing me pieces of home to stop me from falling apart in between your visits and your calls. Did I ever tell you how holding your hand and your kisses were heaven? Thank you for encouraging me, especially when I felt alone, especially when I felt God forgotten me. You stood in front of me and protected me from me. You didn't allow me to stay in my head or beat myself to death. You caught me and continue to catch me whenever I find myself falling. I can be hard and condescending. I can be demanding and unforgiving. I can be distant and needy at the same time. I simply just don't give a fuck, and you don't judge me, at least not to my face. Thank you for not abandoning me, for helping me to my doctor's appointments and to therapy, for making sure I ate and I'm still eating, for making sure I followed the doctor's orders and taking my medication, for watching my favorite shows with me, especially the ones you have no interest in watching. Thank you for holding on to me physically and emotionally during the day and in my sleep. I cannot tell you how it feels when your body and your mind are not in the same place, when the simplest of things requires the greatest efforts, whenever everything seems to go wrong at the same time, when you cannot buy a favor or at least a victory, when you want everything to go back to normal, but what was normal may never be normal again. I worry about my insurance. There are days everything's hurts, and I am in endless pain. I am embarrassed by all that I rely on you to do for me, because I don't want to rely on anything or anyone to do anything for me. I remember when I can do it all by myself and so much more. Having use of my body, cleaning myself, feeding myself, dressing myself, brushing my own hair and teeth. Imagine how you would feel if one day you woke up and you could no longer do what you once did on your own. Imagine the frustration of no longer being in control of your body and mind. Imagine fearing the person you love the most would no longer see you as you were, and the possibility of them changing their mind about being in your life because you are not the same. Imagine. That's why I want to thank you. for every laugh, every smile. Thank you for allowing me to vent and not allowing me to stay stuck in my feelings. Thank you for making me feel wanted and needed. Thank you for making me feel as close to normal as possible. Thank you for checking on me and checking me. Thank you for your unconditional, unreplaceable love. I thank God for every day after the day that was almost my last day. I know I don't tell you every day, but I thank God for you. And that's that piece. I'm going to do another piece, and it's called Black. They mimic their favorite parts of you while picking you apart, telling you you are not good enough. So you fight to live in places you've nurtured, earned, and established, but the world charges you rent to lease your ambition and keep you broken without a place to call home. You turn bruises into protection. You remember everything they said about you to your face, and especially behind your back. The layers on your skin should never need to be this thick. You pour into others, but they pour your surroundings to make you sick, to make you shallow, to make you salty. You're meek doesn't make you weak. Too many borrow from your brilliance and claim it as their own. No wonder why the texture of your integrity reads as being rigid. I see you. Tired of asking for everything you deserve, your childhood trauma transformed into your adult fears and fierce. Depending on how often you fought, fallen, and found freedom, I see you. Tired of being denied, tired of being limited to their false narrative of you. They are ignorant to your robust, to your rebel, to your resilience. I've watched you die and give birth, yet you still defend despite every denial, despite every detour, despite being ignored. You challenge what is expected and reflected while living and working through your neglect. You are not required to justify what you are doing here. You show up where most people check out. You're powerful, make others uncomfortable. They are so afraid the moment you live in your power that they will be sentenced to suffer for the centuries of your suppression. There is a price for your success. Too many have sold their souls to stand and profit on the backs of others, mothers, fathers, daughters, brothers. Where are you? You're gentle and curiosity manipulated until you are numb and hardened. 5,000 shades of your ancestry, culturally deprived, emotionally lynched, financially docile. They try to erase your history and language while blaming you for the way that they treat you. Your beauty colors outside the lines, outside the times. I see you, and you are right. You absolutely deserve better. Yeah, that was that piece. I'm gonna do one more. I just want to tell y'all that when you write, or me, when I write in my life, from my life, it is a release because the world is heavy. And I'm just so grateful that I'm able to put it down and not walk in this, because it can be extremely dangerous every day to walk in this. I'm going to do one more piece, and this piece is called Bitcoin. You have to excuse me. I've gotten slightly emotional. I'm going to look back on this and be mad at myself. My eyes are already puffy or half visible. This is called Bitcoin, excuse me. Surviving had me thinking I would leave here before I was free here. I was too broken to bank, so I spent until I was spent. But God was building me accounts before I got saved. I changed. Now I know the difference between quarters, dimes, and the nickel plated. I am glad it all finally makes sense. I watch big faces fold, nobody smiling. So I put my soul in a safe, figured I'll only find happy in the growth of my daughters. But you got me counting my blessings and making deposits instead of drowning in debt. I walk by sleeping fishes, avoiding hooks and exposing my depth. I overvalue my vulnerable, but I trust you with every piece of me. But now you see the glue on my gravity. I cannot afford to lose the peace in me. I was made ashamed of my humanity as a kid. I matured and stood before you naked, afraid you'll walk away. I've been tried, sentenced, and executed for my vision, my finances, and my flaws. I failed at reaching my full potential, but here you are standing next to me, investing in the rest of my life. So I am here thriving for the best of my life. I wasn't meant to fit in. My God made me to break every mold, especially the limitations and weight of positions others think I should not hold. I needed to be safe for my soul. I smile, I feel, I try, I withdraw. Add stock to my bonds. Fuck the world, it depreciates the stocks on my bonds. Our connection is spiritual currency. I am rich in possibility, yet I am wealthy in your ambition, in your love, and in your contrast to cash. You care in digital capital. Let me spin forever being better based on who we are. Surviving had me thinking I would leave here before I was free here. I was too broke in the bank, so I spent until I was spent, but God was building my accounts before I got saved. I said I changed. Now I know the difference between quarters, dimes, and a nickel plated. I am glad it all finally makes sense. I stopped pitching pennies. My wife gambled on my global. She Bitcoin. No one will ever have the chance to cash me out again. And that's that piece.
Bruh, yo, can I just tell you, man, that your words walked heavy tonight. I mean, good God Almighty. I mean, your subject matter, you know, the emotion you put into your words, you know, the way you're illustrating your stories of, you know, your subject matter, yo, bro, you brought the fire without question.
Oh, man.
Without question.
Thank you so much, brother. Look, I have a lot to be grateful for. My wife, who I think is absolutely the strongest woman I've ever met, has gone through some things over the past year. Myself, I've gone through some health things over the last year. Today is my youngest daughter's birthday. To be able to be here today, not just to do an interview, but to have waken up today. I can't tell you what it means, but I'm grateful. I'm grateful in a way I can't explain. So all I want to do is keep pushing, keep translating life, and let us know that we're here for a reason.
Most definitely, bro. Most definitely. And as you can see in the chat, man, you're getting all the love in the chat, man. Your words are definitely hitting. You know what I'm saying? Powerful, thought-provoking, and just keeping it real. You know what I mean? And I appreciate you coming through. You know what I'm saying? I encourage you, keep it up, bro. Keep putting that pen to paper, keep sharing your heart, your words, your stories, bro. Much relevance. Your words are relevant, no question. You know what I mean?
Thank you, brother.
So at this time, we're gonna shift again.
So I'm okay.
I want to take this time, just a few minutes before we close out, for the members of our audience tonight to ask a question or a comment of you. So at this time, if anyone in the audience has a question or comment for Quo, you can feel free to unmute yourself and share your question or comment.
Crow, may I get a copy of that piece, Black?
I put myself on mute. No doubt. I see you, sis. I got you.
Thank you so much. Fire, truly fire.
Thank you.
Hey, Cynthia, thanks for coming through. Good to see you.
Same here, sir, same here.
Awesome.
I have more of a comment than a question. I just wanted to thank Crow for taking us on that journey with him. You know, we were in 4 different spaces simultaneously, and I just wanted to thank him for sharing with us, sharing his vulnerability, and allowing us to be there with him. So I wanted to thank him.
Awesome. Thanks, Shamika. He most definitely did. Yeah, no question. I see Abike. Abike, you wanted to share a question or comment?
Yes, thank you. Blessings, my brothers and sisters. I have a statement, but I really have a question for you, Noel, if I may.
Sure.
So I remember years ago, it's probably more than 15 years ago now that you and I were introduced. So we were introduced by a mutual friend who said to me, "Oh, I want you to meet this brother who does poetry," because I was doing poetry. I was teaching poetry workshops in the church. Did you ever imagine that today on the platform that you're using, so congratulations on that, the platform that you're using, did you ever imagine that you'd be instrumental in bringing grassroots artists together? Because that's what you're doing.
Thank you, sis. Thank you. I'm very humbled. I mean, I honestly didn't think it was going to be at this level at this time. I knew a few years back when I started my publishing company that my original plan was to, self-publish, not only my work, but I wanted to, reach out to other authors, other poets, and help get their work published. And, that's still part of my plan, but, my plans have kind of shifted, based upon my own life circumstances and situations, but I still kept my passion for poetry and for my passion, to connect with other poets, who are just as passionate about poetry as I was. And it wasn't really until the pandemic started where I really started, to think about, how I can, take what I have in my hands and start building on it. So I figured, with the lockdown happening, I was like, well, got to shift gears, put everything virtual. And the moment I made that decision to go virtual and started reaching out to people, that's when things started, snowballing. Like I started meeting other poets, and poets started connecting with other poets, telling them about what I'm doing, and then they're coming back to me because of, the people that have, connected with me beforehand, and putting them on. So I just feel very humbled and grateful for God to give me the mind to create, these platforms, and to have a heart to, create a space for all of us to share. Because, it's never been about me. I've always had a heart, to support people in their gifts and talents. And I'm just thankful to have the mind to want to create a platform where others can join in and share their heart and share their creativity and their inspiration, just like me. Because I always felt like I've always been the type of person where, I never been one to wait on people to open the door for me or to make room for me. I don't wait on people for opportunities. I've been one to create my own opportunities. And, don't get me wrong, I'm very thankful for the people that reach out to me to invite me to whatever they're doing, like Crow, perfect example of that. This brother has always been a blessing to me, inviting me to his events and putting me on. So I'm grateful for people like him to give me a platform. But I've always been the kind of person where, I want to do my own thing. I want to create my own platforms. I don't want to sit around waiting on people to make stuff happen. I've always been the kind of person that wants to make things happen for myself. So, I really didn't think that it would be at this level, but, there by the grace of God go I, because over the last couple of years, it's just been growing and growing, and I've been connecting with new people. I've been going to places I've never been to before, connecting with other poets that are responding positively to what I have to offer. So I'm just grateful, for the ability to create, for the ability to connect, and I'm just praying, for continued open doors and opportunities to reach people and to let them know that, hey, you have another space where you can join in and do your thing, because I feel like there's always room for one more at the poetry table. You know what I mean? It's like there's so many events out there. I'm not in competition with no one. Everybody has something different, but it's always good to have another option. Because we're as artists, we're always looking for opportunities to share. So it doesn't hurt to provide one more space where everybody can join in and do their thing. So I'm just happy to be able to contribute something to the poetry community, and I just pray that I can continue to do it and build on it and grow it further to whatever God sees fit for it to be.
Yeah. Amen.
The beauty of that, and I'm gonna shut up. The beauty of that is that I think a lot of us artists and people, the human race in general, with this COVID incident that has happened, most people looked at it as a curse, but with people like yourself, it was just God showing us our true potential. And I can see where you're going. I say all that to say that I see where you're going. I'm proud, because I know what it's like to have a passion, and not have enough support of it, or feel as if you have enough support of it and not know where it's going. So I see this growing. And I'm not prophesying, maybe a little bit, but I can see you representing other people in the near future. I can see you having an actual, like, I work for a financial house, right? A financial firm. I can see you working for an poets or authors firm. Like, I can see this being established, and I just trust that that's where God is leading you. I just hope it doesn't take another pandemic for us to get there.
Right.
If I may, I have a question for the speaker of the night.
Absolutely.
Mr. Draven, Crow, what is your greatest inspiration, or shall I say your muse, sir?
For those who don't know, my muse is my wife.
I just
That's
like
my
to hear
muse.
it. Thanks.
You're welcome, wife. And thank you. It's so funny, Noel, that in the midst of talking about like creating for 2 years, I did a television show, Poetry TV Creates the Cipher, where I got artists who got together, did poetry, put it out. It did extremely well on New York cable. And I'm like re-releasing those videos out now on my Facebook page. So if people have a Facebook page, they can go and check out my Facebook page, Eric Crow Draven, or they can check me out on YouTube under My Last Rites, WRITES at under YouTube, and find Poetry TV. And tonight I'm also releasing another video. Once we complete this interview, I'm releasing episode 4. And I say that in addition to that, I'm also working on a new show where I'm engaging poets from around the country. So I'm telling poets from around the country, including yourself, Noel, because I'm trying to get everybody down. Send me your poems. If you have performed in front of a live audience and you have that on video, send it to me. Send it to mylastrites@gmail.com, or you can send it to me through Facebook instant, the instant messenger over there, but send it to me because I got another show that I'm putting out where I'm highlighting artists from around the country, and I want everyone to have their ability to shine.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks, brother, for that. Appreciate that. And Abike, thank you for that statement. I appreciate everybody that takes the time to support me, and and the vision that I've been working at these past couple of years. So I do appreciate the love and the support, and I'm just grateful, no question.
Your family. We can't do nothing less than that.
Most definitely. Is anyone else on the line that would like to share a question or a comment before we close out?
Crow?
Me.
This is Mocha. I'm sorry. Somebody else is speaking.
Oh, excuse me, sorry, Mocha, just gonna be less than 60 seconds, you can mark it.
It doesn't matter. You can do a full piece. It could be 60 seconds. It could be a minute. It could be 3 minutes. Send it. I have one person who sent me a 5-minute piece, and it's already edited and on the show. So I'm getting,
most definitely, I will be sending you my very first inaugural piece. You will
okay.
be.
And if you have pieces that are connected, like with videos, like different images, but your poetry's in the background, I'm accepting those too.
Okay, well, then I would definitely be taking a look in my archives. But I just wanted again to say thank you. Your work, your body of work, because I've been watching you for some time. Thank you to your queen wife who introduced me to the area of poetry, and Noel for being the bridge to bringing the underground and those who are on the sidelines of poetry, allowing them a space where they can actually, sharpen their pen. I am going to use that, sharpen their pen. But I just wanted to say, I thank you so much for being legend, for walking in your real. I mean, it's a true inspiration to me. If I may, I consider you one of my many mentors as I go through your work and listen to you, because I find that I am more akin or aligned to how you bring your real forward. And it's just truly an inspiration, and you inspire me, sir. I love you, Crow.
I love you too, sis. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Pam, you have wanted to share? Hey, Pam.
Hey, no, I just want to give some love to Abike and Crow. I've seen them together before, and the poetry and the love and the Black love, #entrepreneurs. Just want to say, keep it up, man. It's good to see, and you're inspiring to so many people, and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you so much, Chicago. I appreciate it, sis.
No problem.
Thanks for coming through, Pam. Thank you so much. All right, I want to make sure I didn't leave anyone out. Is there anyone else that wanted to share a question or a comment before we get ready to close out?
I have a question. How do I see more of this? Because this, I love it. I love to see it.
Are you speaking in terms of the podcast?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. It depends on the availability of my guests. I average about maybe 1 or 2 podcast episodes per month. You know, it varies, but I would suggest, you know, to keep up with my latest event announcements and podcast episode announcements. If you're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Clubhouse, any one of those social media platforms, you'll be able to see all of my announcements. And also, if by chance you're not on social media, that's okay. If you have an email address, if you go to my blog, theanointedpenscrolls.wordpress.com, and sign up to receive like, what do you call it? Like, if you like register on my blog to subscribe, that's it. I'm sorry, subscribe. That's the word I was looking for. You can subscribe to my blog and you'll get email notifications because I post announcements on my blog as well. So if you're not active on social media, if you subscribe to my blog, you'll see all the podcast announcements as well as any open mics that I'm doing, whether my own or other people's.
Thank you so much. Can you put that into the chat so I can copy it down?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Go Crow.
Appreciate it, Mika.
Awesome.
Hey, Crow. How you doing, Crow? This is Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown.
Cynthia's husband.
Hey, Mr. Brown. How you doing, bro?
Hey, how you doing, Noel?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
God bless to see everybody. Hey, Crow, I just want to let you know that the inspiration that you gave to my wife, she gave to me, because I had never in my wildest dreams would imagine that I'd be writing spoken word or poetry. So kudos to everything that you guys do and unleashing the creativity that was locked inside of you.
My brother, God bless you.
Awesome. Awesome. Just give me a moment. I'm just throwing some links in the chat. Pardon me for just a second.
No problem.
All right, it should be up in the chat now. A couple of my links for my blog, YouTube channel. Oh, uh-oh. Sorry about that. Oh, I must mention before we close out, the music that you hear for my intros, that's done by a good friend of mine, DJ Omar. So and he's on Instagram. I believe it's @DJ Omar 25. You can follow him on Instagram. He's an awesome DJ. He be hooking me up with the dope tracks for all of my stuff. So shout out to him for hooking me up with the blazing music. You know what I mean? So props to that. This has been awesome. All right, as we get ready to close, bro, can you share with our audience, for those that don't already know, where you can be found on social media?
Sure. On Facebook, you can catch me under Eric Crow Draven, and I write daily quotes. So you will see, just what I'm thinking and what I'm feeling for the day. You can also find me on Instagram, also under Eric Crow Draven. And on YouTube, you can find me under My Last, LAST, Writes, WRITES. You'll find videos that I produce. You'll actually see some poetry that I put to music, and I have those out as actual videos. So you'll get a nice variety of images and spoken word on my page.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. And do you have any events coming up that you'd like to share?
No, the one thing that I'm working on right now is putting together my poetry show. I'm doing a lot of editing. If I have any, I may have another 2 interviews. I'm just waiting for confirmation on those dates. But as of right now, no scheduled performances at the moment. Just still healing and still putting experience to paper.
All right, that's what's up, man. And just to make sure I have it correctly, I think Abike earlier in the podcast, I posted links to Amazon. Is that where your books can be currently found?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
Amazon and also Barnes and Nobles.
Oh, excellent, excellent. That's what's up, bro. That's what's up. So as we close out, bro, it's important for me to share with you and my audience, first and foremost, thank you. I want to thank my brother, Eric Crow Draven, for dropping the bomb fire poetics. I mean, good God Almighty, man. Your words walked heavy tonight. And I felt every word.
Thank you,
you know what I'm saying? Your delivery, your subject matter, you know what I mean? Your genuine emotion with it, bro. The whole nine was just on point. And I do appreciate you taking time to come through and share from your heart, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate your work. And I wish you much success in your upcoming endeavors. And I also want to thank my audience. You know, thank you for your questions. Thank you for your comments. And thank you for your support. I do appreciate it. You know, every little bit helps. And I appreciate all the love that all of you have shown to me tonight. So thank you so much. For those of you that wish to follow Poets with Purpose and the P.W.P sessions, you can sign up to join the Facebook group, Poets with Purpose. I'm also on Twitter @PoetsWPurpose, the YouTube channel of the same name, Poets with Purpose. And I've recently joined Clubhouse. I'm going to start doing stuff on Clubhouse pretty soon, hopefully, @the Anointed Pen on there. Next episode for the podcast is coming up, episode 28, featuring poet and author Sarah Sarai. That's going to take place on Tuesday, April 5th, 2022 at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for more information, you can reach out to me at 646-372-6230. You can email me at poetswithpurpose@gmail.com. And lastly, all my logos and flyers are designed by the awesome team at Eclipse Graphics. You can find them on Instagram, Eclipse Graphics NY. You can check out the samples of their work there, and you can reach out to them there if you want them to do any work for yourself. And lastly, those of you that wish to make a donation, you could do it through PayPal, Tap Media Man, Cash App, $ the Anointed Pen, or on Zelly, utilizing my phone number. And that, ladies and gentlemen, ends episode 27. Bro, thank you so much. Big thanks to my audience. This video should be uploaded within the next hour or so. So y'all, once it's posted, y'all are free to share it to your social media channels and thoroughly enjoy. Much love. Thank you for the support. Thank y'all for coming through. Y'all have a good night and God bless. Thank you.